Warzone has had a lot of questionable decisions made in its life cycle, and I even have an entire video breaking them down. But what about all the redeeming decisions? The updates that the community had been asking for, small gameplay changes that improved the overall experience, or features we didn't even know we needed. I'm Ornery, and these are the best decisions in Warzone history. Let me know the change that you think saved Warzone down below as we get started. We're going to start off with the hot one, and that's the proximity chat. Proximity chat came during Warzone's absolute lowest point in its life. Warzone 2 messed up the entire franchise, and I've said it before, we are still currently on a rebuilding phase that still has a long way to go. However, possibly the one and only thing that Warzone 2 got right was the addition of proximity chat. It's kind of funny to think that for over 2 years, we didn't have this feature, but being able to talk, troll, and heckle your opponents in real time mid-match has created an unlimited source of clips that are hilarious and sometimes evil.
Let him rest, let him rest. Hey. Yo, stay with us. Bro.
A lot of other games have this feature, so it's only fair that Warzone added it themselves, and obviously it is still part of the game today. How many times have you been in a game minding your own business and then this happens?
I'm getting goddamn top. I can't get in this corner, bro. Yep. Later, team.
Whether it be from the infamous and ongoing server issues, or your little brother unplugging the router, it sucks when a game gets cut short. Well, towards the end of Warzone 2, we got this stealth update that was the Rejoin feature. I had never heard about any of this. I just remember loading up into the game and being able to rejoin a match that I lagged out of. If something like what I just said happened to you, once you load back into the game, you're immediately prompted with the rejoin option to get you back into the game. Now, my internet isn't exactly awful, so it doesn't happen too often, but I've been in several games where I lose my duo and they're able to rejoin and the fun isn't cut short. This is especially good in Warzone because Warzone matches can take upwards of 25 minutes, so when you're locked out for something beyond your control, it's pretty frustrating to sit there and watch paint dry until your team is done. There have been a lot of good limited time modes and events, especially when you're talking about the earlier days of Warzone. They were really getting just really experimental at that point. I wish they would go back to it, but I don't think any of them left as big as a footprint as Zombie Royale did. The reason I say this is that it's been brought back every single year during October and has been a smash hit every time. This concept of being killed and coming back as a zombie who can not only take out other humans, but also find antivirals to come back as a human and finish the match is awesome. Not only this, but whatever map they decide to choose that year will get a new coat of paint to fit the spooky season to a T. With Easter eggs, awesome operators, and jump scares to go along with it. This is something the community gets to look forward to every single year. I would argue that one of, if not the best version of this event was during Warzone 2. With the Halloween train and the iconic Von Dead map as well, this was a great send-off to Warzone 2 and kinda ended on a high note. As far as the haunting for this year's Warzone, I was actually honestly pretty disappointed. It just felt weird not having any type of mode on big maps since this is where this update shines, but it was still fun to run in Purgatory and just mess around. Simpsons may have Treehouse of Horror, but Warzone has the haunting event. This is one of the most recent additions to Warzone that is another thing that you can't really imagine living without now. The airstrikes in Warzone are super inconsistent and are all over the place with their properties, and although this still may be true, at least now we've been given an indicator to tell us where the area of effect is. I think this indicator proves how inconsistent these airstrikes are because there are a lot of times you'll use an airstrike head on with a building, but for some reason it decides to go perpendicular or barely beyond the area that you called it in. Anyways, before this change, all we had was the notification, which didn't tell you the area of effect. That means you could get the notification and run away, but since you didn't know what area was being affected, you could be running even further into the dead center of the airstrike. Although airstrikes will probably still kill you while you're inside of a building, at least now you'll know where to stand to have an actual 0 chance of dying. If you played Warzone at launch, you would know that we had a big problem with heartbeat sensors. They scan up to 50 meters and had no penalty for using one an entire game. The only counter was Ghost. Anyways, it wouldn't be until Warzone 2 where we would get a total overhaul of the heartbeat. It would now have a battery and nerfed range, which to me was enough of a change. But in Warzone 3, it got removed from the tactical slot and was changed to a field upgrade, which put the heartbeat sensor to the grave once and for all. I seriously never pick these things up anymore. I mean, they're not necessarily bad. I just think they're overlooked by literally any other field upgrade. However, since in Black Ops 6 we won't be able to stow anything, we may see yet another rework to heartbeat sensors yet again so that they can maybe get some type of viability. I've expressed how ranked and battle royale games don't really mesh the greatest, but I still have an absolute blast with ranked in Warzone. First introduced in the end of Warzone 2, just like the Haunting, this kind of revived Warzone for a period of time and gave the player something to grind. Before, all we really had was your kill records and how many total wins you had, but now we had an in-game metric to actually display your skill level that gave you something to brag about. Exclusively on Al Mazrah, that was until Warzone 3 came around once we got Fortune's Keep in Season 2, which might I add, ranked Resurgence on Fortune's Keep is like one of the best experiences I've had with Warzone all year, only to be overshadowed by one other update that we're going to talk about on this list. Anyways, it's kind of lame that we don't have ranked on any big map, but having it at least for Resurgence right now has been a lot of fun. I still love Rebirth ranked, but the bigger map was just better for competitive to me. Anyways, once Black Ops 6 Warzone comes, looks like we'll have big map ranked on day 1. If we have Resurgence and Battle Royale at the launch of Black Ops 6, Warzone's going to be in a really good state for competitive. I wasn't sure what to title this next one, but giving everyone a pistol underwater in Warzone 3 made the game overall better. We all know once Warzone 2 came along, we were not only able to swim, but also allowed for water combat if you had a pistol, and only if you had a pistol. This wasn't a very common occurrence until Vondel came around. Vondel not only had way more water present in the center of the map, but this was also adjacent to the release of the FTAC Siege. The FTAC Siege was a machine pistol that was on par, if not better than most SMGs in the game for a period of time, and this caused a lot of players to equip this as their secondary and hide out in the water and farm free kills, since if the other players were in the water without an FTAC Siege, let alone a pistol in general, they were actually defenseless. And things only got worse once akimbo support was added to the sieges. Anyways, this was pretty awful, but come Warzone 3, we got a quality of life change in that every single player, no matter what guns they had equipped, would be given a pistol in the water. This meant no more being caught with your pants down in the water and leveled the playing field significantly. We all know with Warzone 2 there were no one-shot snipers and how bad it was for the game. And when they finally did bring back one-shot snipers, it was not the way we wanted it. However, once Warzone 3 came along, that all changed. Although only being limited to the Cat AMR at launch, sniping finally felt great again. With the addition of the Stalker, Moors, and Kar 98, we finally have a decent pile to choose from when it comes to sniping, depending on what game mode you're playing. It's fairly balanced with damage ranges and different bullet velocities, but still feels really one-sided to the Kar 98. Although it's not really where I would personally like it to be, sniping is definitely getting back on track and probably will get better with Black Ops 6. This next one is really quick. If you played since launch, you definitely knew that Overkill was a crutch perk that you pretty much always had to use until you found a second loadout. In Warzone 2, this perk was swapped to be the first or second slot, which did help a lot, but now in Warzone 3, it has simply been built into the class editor, which has made things much simpler and let players explore their options for other perks. I go into more detail about Overkill in my History of Perks video, but Overkill is returning in Black Ops 6 Warzone, but as a wild card instead, which I think will be a perfect middle ground for this perk. Another great thing added to an awful version of Warzone. Once Warzone 2 launched, we had a stealth feature that nobody knew about until days after the game launched. If you got 5 wins in a row, you would unlock the secret Champions quest. I've talked about the nuke contract a lot on here, and most of you probably already know how it works. I'll still give you a refresher. The nuke contract is possibly the hardest accomplishment to achieve in all of Warzone. Assembling 4 elements that all have negative effects that took a lot of time to get while also trying to fend off the entire lobby. Anyways, once you assemble, arm, defend, and detonate the nuke, you win the match and receive a ton of awesome rewards. This is some of the most content on Warzone to watch because it's just such a high stakes moment and gives you so much gratification if you can finish. We even have a Resurgence version of it, which I think is even harder and more intense. And even though I've never been able to get a nuke, I still try once I get my 30 wins in a season. Yet another small change that went a long way at the end of Warzone 2, we had Dynamic Resurgence. All you solo quads or solo trio players definitely loved this change. Dynamic Resurgence was a big help for those kinds of players because it scales down the Resurgence timer to whatever team size you had, despite of what playlist you were actively playing in. That means if you were playing duo quads, you got the Resurgence timer of duos instead of quads. This makes these like challenge lobbies way more approachable, but also helps you out significantly when playing with randoms who decide to leave mid-match. That being said, I want to go ahead and shout out all the Warzone 1 kill record holders in Resurgence because pretty much all of them were playing solo quads, which meant they couldn't even die once or that run would be over immediately. Here we go with probably the most anticipated update since Warzone launched over 4 years ago, and it had been rumored for a while, but once we finally got Rebirth Island back in Warzone this year, we saw an upward trend for everything Warzone. And it begs the question, why was it even taken out in the first place? Rebirth single-handedly revived Warzone and is still carrying the game as I'm making this video. I could write a book as to why this was good for the game, but you already know why, and we'll go ahead and sprinkle the fact that Verdansk is coming back with Black Ops 6, which is yet another great choice that can bring Warzone back to its former glory. But those are all the best decisions in Warzone history. Let me know if I missed any, any or which one is your favorite down below. If you want to hear me talk about the history of pay to win, pay to lose, scandals, or snipers, go ahead and click on screen now. Join my Discord if you're feeling crazy, and if you liked, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike, and thank you so much for watching.